Hello and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist, the weekly show where we pretend that talking about games on the sofa is totally, definitely work. This week we're busy mastering Mortal Kombat 11, which sees the game's iconic characters fight previous versions of themselves. However, since no one fancied a time-travelling spine rip, it got us thinking about what we tell our past selves instead. So Dave, what's your best advice?
I don't think I'm going to be kind of surprising anybody too much here. I think if you put in a tiny bit of thought into what I might say, my advice would be probably get it. I imagine it's already in the comments. My advice would be to me circa 2006, 2007, and it would be get yourself a platinum. Because all I get all the time, Dave, when are you going to get a platinum? When are you going to get a platinum, Dave? Just play The Walking Dead, Dave. Just get a platinum, just get it done. Why doesn't he have a platinum? How can you have that job but not have a platinum? And it would be around that time because the PlayStation 3 had just come out. Around that time I was at university. It was my first year of university at the end of 2006 to 2007. But I mean, let's be honest, the 3 years of university I had a lot of time when I could be getting a platinum. I don't know which platinum. I've always said this on streams and things when people talk about platinums, just get a platinum. I don't want to just get a platinum. I could just get a platinum because there are simple ways to do it. There are some, very easy ways to do it. Rob made me buy the mayonnaise game. What's it called?
My Name is Mayo.
My Name is Mayo. And I believe if I play that game for another sort of half an hour, I will have a platinum. But I think platinums are a little bit like tattoos, in as much as I really like tattoos, I think they're great, but I don't know what I want enough to get it on me.
It's going to be forever, Dave.
And now, not having a platinum, it's like such a big thing now, because everyone's like, what platinum are you going to get? You've got to get a platinum. That I feel like I can't just get a platinum. I have to choose very carefully. There has to be a story and like a whole thing so that I can tell it on a Tuesday checklist. So whereas if I could just get it done back in 2008, just get a platinum. First of all, it will go one of two ways. I'll just have one platinum forever, and people will just, they won't be able to say, why don't you have a platinum? They'll just be like, you've only got one platinum, which would be better, I think. Or I'll have 20 platinums by now, and I'll be a true PlayStation hero.
Imagine if Sekiro is your first platinum.
Yeah.
No one will be able to laugh at you anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is I just don't seem to have the time for a platinum now. And at the moment, right now, I've got the most time I've had since uni. My girlfriend's been travelling for 4 months around the world, and I don't have any other responsibilities. And still, I'm no closer to getting a platinum. So I hope that if I can go back in time, give past me some advice, that will be it. I could just get it done, like a plaster, just rip it off, and then decide, was it a nice experience? Will I like to get more platinums? Or will I just, forever have the one and it's just done and we don't have to worry about it anymore?
So, if I could go back in time and give some advice to my younger self, I wouldn't change anything. What I would do is reinforce a decision I nearly didn't make. And that... What? What?
Go on. This doesn't sound like good advice.
It is good advice because when Final Fantasy 13 was coming out,
yes,
I was incredibly excited.
X111.
XIII. I was working in London at the time, and I really wanted some quality time with this game. So I was debating whether or not I should. Are you gonna let me tell this story or not? I was debating whether or not I should book a week holiday off work to play Final Fantasy 13, and I think at the time I only had about 9 days of annual leave left because it came out in March and my holiday ran like April to April. My wife, then girlfriend, was not particularly impressed that I was planning on using
I can't imagine why.
remaining. Like we were talking about, should we go off for a nice weekend somewhere or but I really wanted to play Final Fantasy 13 loads, and I even had to make up a story to my office colleagues about what I was doing, so I felt too embarrassed to say, I'm playing Final Fantasy 13 this week. So I was like, I'm going for a family holiday somewhere. But no one was happy with me, basically, and I very nearly didn't do it. But I did in the end, and it was Final Fantasy 13 that I think I would say has led me to be where I am today, because it wasn't my favourite Final Fantasy 13, and I ended up writing a review of it because I had very strong opinions about Final Fantasy 13. And this was the review that I then sent to a bunch of gaming magazines in the UK, just as a kind of, let's just have a go and see what happens with this. And I ended up getting work experience off the back of it, which then led to snowballed into the career I have today. So my advice to my younger self would be, don't listen to the naysayers. Take that week off work to play Final Fantasy 13, because there's no shame. There's absolutely no shame, and I would encourage people to do it if you're really looking forward to a game, because work life and other things, especially when you're an adult, lots of things can get in the way of you being able to properly enjoy a game you're really excited about. And you should just don't feel like it's a bad thing. Take that time off. You deserve it.
Have you taken time off for any other games of note?
Not since, no.
One last question then, Rob.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and give yourself this advice,
Mm-hmm.
would you encourage former you, past you, to tell everybody proudly what you're doing? Would you go, I'd like a week off work, please? And I go, what are you doing, Rob? I'm going to play Final Fantasy 13 in my pants. Or would you say, you can make up a lie? If it makes it easier, you can make up a lie.
I don't think I would advise that, no. Just because, but I would go back and tell my past self, don't feel embarrassed about this. Don't feel ashamed about it.
Just don't admit it.
Just stay true to yourself. Take that
Follow
time
your
off.
instincts.
Yes, follow your heart.
Oh, good advice.
Right, so for my entry, it's kind of more of a physical thing in a weird way, but for some of you may know that I quite like to collect video games. So back at my humble little home, I've got a whole shelf dedicated to PlayStation. I've got a whole roll to PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. I love it. And my boyfriend and I, we spend weekends going to shops, seeing what golden treasures we can find, seeing if it's for a banging price, and then we'll be like, yes, it's going in the collection.
Banging price.
a banging price of Rosie Caddick. But there have been so many moments from when I was younger that I didn't think of buying games necessarily at the time, because you always had the joys of demo discs. And for example, I remember being a kid and I'd play all of these demos and I think they were absolutely amazing. And the thing was, it was a lot harder back then, because it's not like today when there's a specific game shop that you go in and then you can just buy the newest release that's coming out. Like back then it was a bit tougher, and especially if you're a young kid and you've got to ask your parents for it. I mean, my mum,
what are they good for?
Well, I asked my mum to purchase Fallout 4 for me for Christmas, and she went into the shop and said, can I have 4+4 for the PS4? So I've always been. But obviously, when you're a kid, you don't really have the things physically until you can kind of start earning a bit more pocket money, or you're treated to a game for Christmas. And I remember, obviously, since my brother was older, he earned a bit more money first. So I remember when he started buying games, I just play them, and it was great because we shared them at the time. But then obviously when he moved house,
You took the games with him?
He did.
Oh my
The games, and then literally the games that I used to have, like in our family home, there was a huge library, and then it just went like just to my humble little set. And I just remember being like, I'm gonna have to buy all of these games again. I'm gonna have to start the whole collection again. And not only that as well, but like PS1 games, some of them could be expensive nowadays. I remember, and not only that as well, but when you're playing a demo and you haven't played it in so long, like you can sometimes forget the game title. I remember a big one for me was The Unholy War on the PS1. I was looking ages for The Unholy War, but if only I like maybe wrote it down for my younger self, or just maybe asked my parents if maybe we could go to a shop and then I could keep an eye out for it, for The Unholy War. And now you find it and it's like, I think £40 or something. I mean, I own it. I'm very happy that I do own it. I found it in a lovely little market. I was like, the unholy war. But my advice to my younger self would be like, or even if today, if there's a game that you really, really like, I always say, that's why I still today prefer the physical versions compared to digital versions, because I just love the satisfaction of it being on the shelf and you can pick it up at any time. It's history, it's memories, and I just wish that my younger self just was more aware of how much I'd want to play or collect the video games that I love and adore so much. And just, start off a little bit more so that I didn't have to spend so much money buying them all again. But luckily, my boyfriend also collects them, so now we share that. So if he ever leaves me, then they're all going as well.
Rosie, you heard nothing.
Nothing. I'm still telling it to myself.
Okay, I think if I was going to go back in time and give myself any advice, it would be choose your gaming companions far more wisely.
Yes, carry on.
This begins with one of the first games I ever played was Silent Hill. It was at my cousin's house. They had like every game. I used to go over and play with them. It was the best thing ever. And at a much too young age, I think, they let me play through Silent Hill. I was just a real scaredy cat when I was younger. And I think because they thought I would maybe be scared, they really hammed it up. So I had this ridiculous soundtrack. And so I just remembered it as a really hilariously comedic experience, which was really, really fun. And it was great. But it did mean that I didn't really appreciate it for its subtle suspense and the mounting horror, because for me it was this hilarious game. And I think, and because I love Silent Hill now, and I'm obsessed with it. For me, it's just really my type of scary game. I love, do you know what I mean? I love that kind of really terrible, sickening suspense for hours at a time, so that when you finished it, you pass out. But that's my thing. Just don't worry about it. And so I think I would have, appreciated it earlier on. I wasn't in a massive rush to play Silent Hill 2 because I was, I wasn't going to play it with my cousins, and I kind of thought, oh, it's a game that would only be fun with them. And so, I think I would have preferred maybe to play it by myself and appreciate it earlier on, so then I could go on to just get that obsession in a bit earlier, just really start it off. And I think the same thing kind of happened with, I played Skyrim with a friend because I really wanted to introduce them to it. I knew they were going to love it. Everybody loves Skyrim. Yeah. And obviously, as I've mentioned, maybe a couple of times, I love battle axes. I don't like to sneak, and they really wanted to sneak. And so I had to because we were sharing, we were kind of passing the power back and forth. They wouldn't let me just go all out and build a massive brawler, which is what I wanted to do. And I hadn't, at that point, I hadn't finished Skyrim. I'd picked it up, played quite a lot, got really distracted, and never come back to the main quest. And so I was kind of playing it through with them. And so we had to, we kind of settled on a compromise, which was we went for flaming arrows.
Stealth with style.
Yeah. So it was they got to sneak and hide and shoot from far away. And then I got to laugh maniacally when someone just burst into flames. So it kind of, it satisfied my psycho side. But it wasn't how I would have liked to play it. I like to genuinely chase after a dragon and wait till it lands and hack it. So I think I would have enjoyed Skyrim more. And obviously now, again, completely obsessed, have it on it every single way you could possibly get it, played it in VR, which just changed my life. That was the best. So yeah, that's another game that I think I would have played. And then finally, I'm going for GTA. Basically, every GTA at some point I've played with my mum in the room, and she's not a great companion. So she's really interested in games, and she loves games, and she'll just be watching. But GTA is not her thing, and I shouldn't have played it with her in the room. And we'll be walking down the street, and a lady will walk past. And my rule in GTA is, if a passerby says something rude to me, they get beaten to death.
Hell yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it's uncalled for, mate.
That's
unnecessary.
what they're designed for.
So someone will say something rude, and then she'll turn around just as I'm viciously beating someone to death with a bat. Just why are you doing that? Well, they said something rude.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So she would probably, best not to have your mum in the room during GTA.
Yeah.
But so my advice would be, pick your gaming companions carefully.
That's solid advice. Did she get anything for that?
I did. She got me the limited edition version because...
Pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good.
That's much better.
She got me the limited edition version because the shop were oh, she'll love this version. My mum didn't know there was a standard version. She was that's why it was so much money. Yeah. But that's going off the point.
Sounds like everything worked out there, Rosie. Who doesn't want a limited edition? Anyway, let us know what you tell your past self in the comments, and make sure you subscribed and hit that notification bell so you're always up to date with all our PlayStation Access content. See you soon.
for the players.